All in Cooper CPAs, located in the heart of East Nashville, offer a wide variety of tax services for individuals and businesses. Contact them at 615-257-0646 and visit their website, allcooper.com, for a full list of services.
Talkapolis, the social media TV network for your city.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment of Political Soup this week with Crom Carmichael. I'm Joe Williams, just kind of hanging out. Crom, a couple of weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the situation in Atlanta, where suddenly everything was based on testing, and the Atlanta schools for 8 years, 10 years, went through the roof. They were the poster child for the entire country on how you get your test scores up. Unfortunately, it's since been found that the way they do that is by changing answers, changing scores.
Oh, my gosh. The amount of cheating that went on, not by students, but by teachers.
Exactly.
And
administrators.
And administrators. But here's what's fascinating, is that now that the word is out, and by the way, there have been so far 80 educators who've already confessed and will be testifying for prosecutors against a bunch of other people who have not yet confessed.
28 or 29 were indicted by a grand jury.
Okay, I mean, it's a big scandal.
Yes.
But here's what's interesting. This is a person named Randy, and it's R-A-N-D-I, so I assume that's a female.
Sounds feminine.
Randy Weingarten is the chief of the American Federation of Teachers. That's a teachers union. She says, tragically, the Atlanta cheating scandal harmed our children, and it crystallizes the unintended consequences of our test-crazed policies. So the tests made them do it. You know, this is just like a liberal who says it's guns that kill people, not the people who shoot the guns. In this case, it's the tests that drove the teachers to cheat rather than just dishonesty inherent in the system and greed.
Disagree.
Okay.
For a second.
All right.
It's how would you put it, the test-crazed mentality? Is that that her term? Okay. There's a difference between blaming the test and blaming the mentality that says you have to meet this test. We'll argue that point, I know, but go ahead.
I don't know if that's a distinction with a difference or without one, but then the next one goes on. Robert Schaefer, and this is the delightful position. He is head of the National Center for Fair and Open Testing. That's his position. He used to be another teacher union person, but here's what he says. When test scores are all that matter, which is not true, by the way, so this is setting up a straw man. There are more things that matter than test scores. But when he tries to set up a straw man, when test scores are all that matter, some educators feel pressured to get the scores they need by hook or by crook. The higher the stakes, the greater the incentive to manipulate, to cheat. Well, that's true in anything in life. And so that doesn't excuse the cheaters. He adds that politicians, now he's blaming the politicians. In addition to the test, now we're going to blame the politicians. Fixation on high stakes testing is damaging quality and equality. So now it's racist if you want to have test scores be a factor in determining how much money a teacher makes or how much money a district gets. Go ahead.
2 points here, having talked to teachers and having worked in part of that system, and that is this. There is a difference. You're right. Test scores aren't all that matter, but so many times that is all that they're judged on. Good teachers may be great teachers, and they may get all that they can out of the students that they've got. Those students may not be able to reach where the benchmark is. They may do a great job with a kid who falls 2 points short.
Well, the teachers' unions are now rallying around the teachers who are known to have cheated. Now think about that.
I got a problem. No, I got a problem with that. I agree with that.
Well, but that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that teachers' unions are not in the business of trying to figure out how to better educate children. Teachers' unions are in the business of protecting even the worst teachers. And in this case, these are teachers that systematically cheated for years.
Those aren't teachers. Those aren't educators. Those are cheaters. Those are thieves.
But they're there defending them.
I know.
And they will be there to defend them to help them try to keep from losing their job, even though they're known cheaters. And so the point is that it is a fascinating thing as we watch how big this scandal becomes, to watch how teachers' unions are more interested in trying to protect the cheating teachers. And not all, by the way, not all the teachers in the district cheated.
No.
But they're out there trying to protect the ones that did.
Well, you know what I'd really like to know? I would like to know where that union was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, when there were teachers who stepped up and said, listen to me. This is what they are cheating, and if I say anything, I'm going to lose my job. They said something, they lost their job. Did the union protect those teachers too? There's my question.
Well, they're not going to protect those, because the unions are there to protect the worst. They're not there to protect the best.
Yeah.
The best don't need protection. The best are going to be well paid, they're going to advance, and they're going to be successful in helping children learn. Unions are there to protect the ones that aren't able to do that. And this is a case in point. Not only do these teachers now we know fail to teach, they also cheated in the process, and there are the unions trying to protect them.
Yeah, like I said, those are the teachers who aren't teachers. They're not educators, they're thieves.
Yeah. But why is the union protecting them?
You know, it's funny. I think we're agreeing on this just from different angles.
It's almost impossible. It is almost, and I use that word, it's almost impossible to defend these people. But the fact that the unions are trying to is indicative of what the unions are for.
I think it opens up the potential for some good discussion on maybe some unintended consequences.
Vouchers, charter schools, this is the way that it's going to eventually go, because you have to have competition to chase out the bad. If you go into a restaurant that serves bad food, do you go again? No. Do some people go? Yes. Do enough people go to keep the restaurant open? No. So that's what you want in school, is you want there to be competition. And by the way, the good teachers will thrive on competition because they will be given even better ways. They will be educated into better ways to teach children. And competition will lift everything. Now, will every single child do better under competition? Not every single child, just like it's impossible to say that any system would eradicate all poverty. But will 95% of the children or 97% of the children benefit by competition? The answer is yes. Whereas now in Atlanta, you got all these kids now who are now, 25 years old, that we're now finding out.
They can't read.
Yeah.
Can't read, can't do simple math,
Yeah.
can't do a checkbook.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Again, I think we're agreeing on this.
We are. You bet we are.
It's a hard way to get there. I will say this as my closing argument on this subject, and that is this. Again, having worked some as a substitute in some public education situations and knowing many teachers, one of the happiest, boy, it's not the right way to put it, one of the best decisions I think my oldest daughter made was deciding not to go into teaching.
Well, gosh.
My hat is off to anybody, one, who's doing it, and two, who's planning on going to it, because it is
well, and doing a good job, though, Joe.
Nearly an impossible job, and they're doing good jobs.
Well,
it's hard.
I'm not going to. There are a lot of jobs that are hard.
Yes.
And a person who becomes a teacher has to be held accountable.
Agreed.
And we really want them to do a good job, and we ought to want to pay teachers who do a good job.
Yes.
But I don't want to pay teachers who don't do a good job. And in fact, the ones who do a poor job, I want to they need to be out of the system. And unions aren't there to protect the good teachers. Unions are there to hold the good teachers back, because they don't want the good teachers to show up the ones that they're really there to protect, which are the bad teachers. So let me say this. I want to be clear. Not all teachers are bad. Only 10 or 15% of teachers at any one time are in the bottom, get this, 10 or 15%.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
That's by definition. Those are the ones who shouldn't be in the system, or at least ought to be eligible to be terminated.
Reminds me of when I first went to work in public service, when two department heads came to me after a month or so and said, hey, you need to slow down. You're making us look bad.
There you go.
That was a fun time. For Crom Carmichael, I'm Joe Williams. Please join us next time on Political Soup. Who knows what we'll be into then? Who knows what? No, I'm not going there.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
That's the fun part.
That's the scary part with Crom. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Political Soup.